Hello, my friends, and oh my gosh, that sounds awful. Better turn that up. I almost forgot here. Hello, my friends, and I hope you're having a fantastic day. First, we're obviously going to start off with more puppy pictures. Here is puppy number 1, her cute little face. I didn't manage to get pictures of all the puppies today. Mom was feeling very testy about the whole process this afternoon, so I did not manage to get as many pictures as I wanted to, but they are growing fast, so in the future, there should be more and better pictures. Their eyes won't open for at least another week yet. They'll be 7 days old come Thursday, so we should actually start seeing a little bit of eyeball here soon, but it's still early yet. And here's a cute shot of her side, just to show off her cute little cow spots. And I thought this photo was so cute. This is puppy number 2 holding her cute little toes out to say, no, don't take a picture of me. And you can see her little toe beans, and I need to clip their nails. I should do that tomorrow. But you can see her little paw pads, and it's so cute. Sorry, they're just so adorable. And here's her from the side. She's all fat. They've been eating really well. They've all crossed over into the next ounce range, so the big one is, or number 1 is up to 9 ounces. Number 2 is nearly to 9 ounces. 3 is up to 6 ounces, or 3 is actually up to 7 ounces. Or was she 8 ounces? 3 is up to 8 ounces, and 4 is just crossing into 6. So she's got a bit of a ways to go to catch up. Number 3 here was just so squirmy tonight. This was the best picture I could get of her. And I did not manage to get a standalone picture of number 4 because at that point, their mother was going insane, and I didn't dare take any longer because it's just not nice to do to her. She doesn't like when the puppies are out of the crate too long at this stage. And I try not to torture my dog too much, even if I do need to do certain things to make sure her puppies are healthy. And even if I do like to document them. And a quick group photo I managed to snap, even though Mom was obviously sitting on top of them. It's so funny because you'll take one out and then you'll put it back, and she will immediately go and kind of sit on top of it to guard it from you. And then after she does that, she'll lick them like crazy. It's kind of funny if it wasn't so distressing for her at the same time. That said, we are going to go ahead and talk about the Game Award nominees. We're just going to kind of sail through everything really quick. And you will notice I'm not using my avatar tonight. That's not because I'm sick, not because I'm tired, not because I don't want the light in my face, but because I managed to break the damn thing that holds my camera. So we're going with the static image for now while I figure out if I can either buy a replacement part or if I have to replace the whole damn thing. The most annoying part of that is that I literally today just placed the order for my new mouse. So it's kind of a what the fuck kind of thing, you know? I'm not sure what happened. I went to adjust it and the whole thing just kind of popped off and she couldn't get it back together, and it's just broken. So I'm going to have to figure out what I'm doing about that. I will have some kind of makeshift setup that will hopefully detect my face as well as what I was using before, but I don't know how well it's going to be. So we will see, and I will get it figured out in the meantime. We're not going to go deep diving into all of these. I just wanted to kind of run through them really fast. I know there's a lot of opinions and everything floating out there about a number of things. But the combination of the fact that there are so many categories, I kind of wanted to just scroll through them and see what we thought. Not to mention, I was on Leon Words of Paradise's stream earlier this afternoon, and we did go through them all on that. And the thing about this that hurts me the most isn't even the games they picked or the categories or anything like that. It's the fact that graphic design is so fucking bad. So let's look at this here. And I don't know how anybody feels about any of these games. I'm gonna be entirely honest. I don't care about any of them. I know it's a spectacularly petty nitpick, but the fact of the matter is if you were going to put together yourself as an award ceremony or whatever, and you're going to release what you call professional level graphics, you should at the very least keep your margins the same. It's not that hard. All of these cards should have been a cutout, or should have been a template with the same opening on all of them. You layer it behind it. You mask it or whatever in the world you have to do to get it to fit appropriately, and then you have something that looks the same all the way across. It's not that hard. We're going to go ahead and scroll through the various categories. Obviously, they have Best VR AR Game. I don't play any of these, so I don't have any opinion. Sports and Racing. Strategy and Sim, which I have played Konosuba, and I really enjoy it. It's very cute, kind of, or not cute. It's a very interesting kind of combination of tower defense and strategy and, individual characters. It's a lot of fun, and the setup is a little basic in terms of the way the game progresses, but it's still fun. The graphics are pretty. The story's compelling. I really need to work on it a little more. It's a fun game. Then you have Best Score in Music, which I haven't played any of the games on this list, so I have no opinions. Best RPG. Again, I haven't played any of these this year. I know Sheep City and really enjoyed Dragon's Dogma 2, which is great for him. Best Performance. I don't know any of these people again, so big whatever. Best Ongoing Game. The only one I've played, I played a little bit of Helldivers 2, a little bit of Final Fantasy 14. The rest of them, I have no real opinion. I know there are a lot of people who are upset at the snub of Genshin Impact. They feel that should have been on there since it's been an ongoing game for quite a while. I have no idea what the secret cabal of judges they're uses it to decide what games get on here, because let's face it, they've already said that it's 90% their secret cabal and 10% actual people's votes, which seems backwards to me, but, whatever. Best Narrative. Again, I haven't played any of them. I haven't apparently played any of the games that are coming out. Well, no. I've only played one game that's getting an award so far this year. And then we have this, where we bring back the petty nitpicking. Best Multiplayer. What is with that? Can someone explain what the logic between breaking the thing up like this was? If you were to do this correctly, then it would be multi dash with player on the next line. That would look good, it would make sense, and it wouldn't piss me off. Which, I know they don't care what I think. I'm a gamer, so whatever on that. But it's so unprofessional. And it's so easy to do if you do it right. That's the frustrating part of it all, is that these simple little things they can't get right. And again, I haven't played these things. I've heard really good things about Warhammer 40K Space Marines 2. I know a lot of people really like Helldivers 2. I only played one round of it, and then the whole thing came down with that whole networking and the fact that people can't get into there. Honestly, I do think that should be part of the consideration in this regard, is how the game itself is treating the customers, but it's not my game award, so whatever. Best Mobile Games, which Cabal is getting a lot of recognition this year from what I've seen, and I've heard a lot about Zenless Zone Zero. I know a lot of people are really enjoying that, and here they've done it again. Best Independent Game. There are rules out there that they teach about where you split words, and whoever made these cards apparently did not learn any of them. It's very annoying, to say the least. The Best Independent Games, Animal Well, which we talked about during the Golden Joysticks, Balaltro, Lorelei and the Laser Eyes. I haven't heard of that. Neva was one I actually wanted to check out just because the art style looked cool. And then on Leon's stream this afternoon, Spence was talking about UFO 50 and reminded me about it. The whole story on that, with the various indie games strewn together with an outside kind of arcing story in a anthology-like way, sounds kind of cool to me. Games for Impact, which are the activist type games. I did want to play Indica, and I still kind of do because it looks kind of interesting. But other than that, I don't have much of an opinion. Best Game Direction. Again, I have no real opinion. I know a lot of people are really upset that Elden Ring's Shadow of the Erd Tree is being treated as a full game as opposed to a DLC. And I understand why that is. But Thomas Muller, the dev of No Rest for the Wicked, Moon Studios, was talking about it, and he kind of made a point that I sort of agree with. And that is that we're reaching a point that games aren't going to continue in the way that we're used to. Instead of dropping a sequel, a game is probably going to drop an entire DLC that will more or less act as the sequel. And while it's still under the same kind of title, instead of being the next title with a 2 next to it, it is kind of a whole new game at the same time. And there should be a way to differentiate between that and a simple DLC that just adds some extra story. I've played Elden Ring. I enjoy Elden Ring. I have not played Shadow of the Erdtree. And from what I understand, it did basically add an entire new game to the original game. So I do understand why it is being treated as its own game, and I understand why people don't like the fact that a DLC is being treated as its own game. But I think to some degree we're going to have to find a way to recognize DLC that isn't just, your common DLC, and DLC that really does something extra, that really continues the game without them having to put out an entirely new title. And maybe that's the way that Elden Ring was trying to treat it in the first place, is that while you already own the game, this is just the sequel. And instead of having to download, an entirely separate game called Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree as, Elden Ring 2, they just put it on top of the other one. But call me crazy, I can kind of see both sides on it. Best fighting game. I do not understand how Multiverses got on here with the amount of money it has lost the WB, but the rest of them I know nothing about, so this is really entertaining. So far, this is me not knowing a whole lot. Best family game. The best I can say is I know Sheep played Echoes of Wisdom, and he enjoyed it. Best esports team. Don't care. Best esports game. Also don't care. Best esports athlete. That sounds dumb. Best debut indie game. Manor Lords is really an interesting story in regards to how that developer both started the game kind of on his own and is looking to go forward without bringing on a massive team, keeping it slow and steady. I really appreciate that, because so many games anymore get that money and then they bloat out their team and their company, and before they know it, they need to make this massive, it's the same thing that's happened in AAA. They made all this money. Now they have to justify making all this money supposedly. And they think the only way to do that is to basically act like a government and hire more people, because I don't know. It's dumb. That's what it is. Content creator of the year. I do not know any of these people, and they did it again. Best community support. If you were going to do this correctly, you would put an M or a dash between those two M's. And I have to agree with Grum's assessment about Helldivers 2. The fact that that game still isn't accessible to a number of people in different countries who bought it is a failure in my mind of community support. But I don't know, again, what the Cabal's requirement are. Obviously, whatever they are, it made it. Best design audio. I've heard really good stuff. I know people have mixed feelings about the Silent Hill 2 remake, but I've heard at least the audio design is really good. Best art direction. It's cool to see an Atlas game on there. And here they do get in most anticipated game, and they didn't even bother with a dash. Why do they? It makes no sense. Anyway, this one is like, why is the Ghost of Yotai in there? Or Yotei, or however it's said. Because as far as I know, nobody's actually anticipating that game. Not in a positive way, anyway. I would love to know what their selection requirements are in terms of how they're choosing these things. Because I know a lot of people are excited about Grand Theft Auto 6. I don't know too many people who are excited about Death Stranding 2. I think my brother probably is, but I know people who are excited about Metroid Prime 4, and I know a lot of people who are really excited about Monster Hunter Wilds, but that's the way it is. Then Best Adaptation, which, if you just put a dash and put the TION on the bottom, it would look right, but whatever. And I have no opinion on any of these because I really don't watch many TV shows anymore. Arcane, Fallout, Knuckles, Like a Dragon, Yakuza, Tomb Raider, The Legend of Lara Croft. The only one I've heard much about, I've heard stuff about Fallout, which was mixed reviews, and Tomb Raider I've heard was absolutely awful. Best Action Game, which it's nice to see Black Myth Wukong and Stellar Blade both on the list. It's nice to see Stellar Blade got anywhere on one of these lists. you kind of expect it to get totally snubbed. And here they go again with no dash. I know it's silly for me to keep harping on it, but it irritates the shit out of me. As it is, looking at these is honestly painful when you see that they couldn't even keep the images correct. You know, they couldn't even keep the images in the same formatting with the same margins. It's just very frustrating. And I don't know how Star Wars Outlaws got on this list. That's another one of those interesting questions. Or Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. Did anybody hear anything about that game? And I'm not usually one to harp on that because honestly, Sheep and I had an entire argument about that this afternoon, about games you don't hear about and how they get where they are. Balaltro is getting a Game of the Year nomination. He hadn't heard about it. Nobody knew really talked about it. He had no idea what it was. But at the same time, I've seen a lot of chatter about it because a lot of people think it's a really fantastic game. I may try the mobile game. We'll see. And then here you actually have a dash, but you have no space. So this is innovation and accessibility. So apparently they can't access their innovation, in which case that is the perfect category for Dragon Age the Veilguard, because the game is totally accessible or totally inaccessible in terms of wanting to play it. However, I don't know what the accessibility options are in it that really make it so fantastic, or any of the others for that matter. And then of course you have Game of the Year, which is what most people are talking about. Some people feel Astrobot's not big enough. A lot of people feel they never heard of Balaltro, so why in the world is it on there? Most people I see seem to think that Black Myth Wukong belongs on there. There's the whole conversation about DLCs and Shadow of the Erdtree, and they came out with that statement, which we will look up in a little bit. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and Metaphor ReFantazio are the Game of the Year nominees. Now, personally, I would like to see Black Myth Wukong, or even, despite the controversy, Shadow of the Erdtree take it. But I have strong feelings against Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and no feelings about the other three. Now, in regards to some of the controversy about, DLC and so forth, the Game Awards did add a section to their FAQ. Are DLCs, expansion packs, and remakes, remasters eligible? And the answer is, the Game Awards aims to recognize the best creative and technical work each year, irrespective of the format of that content's release. Expansion packs, new game seasons, DLCs, remakes, and remasters are eligible in all categories if the jury deems the new creative and technical work to be worthy of a nomination. Factors such as the newness of the content and its price/value should be taken into consideration. And now, while the argument I stated earlier will apply to things like Shadow of the Erdtree, I do not believe that remasters of old games should be allowed to exist in narrative categories or other categories that the previous iteration of the game would have been in, because literally what you're doing with that is you're just double dipping. You already won on the narrative once. You can't reuse that same narrative again. And people will say, oh, they changed things in, for example, Silent Hill 2. Did they really change them enough, though? Is it an entirely new story? Not really. It's still basically the same story. It's just got some new flavor added to it. So that's kind of my opinion on that. Despite not liking Final Fantasy Rebirth in regards to the story and the way it changes everything for Final Fantasy VII, I can understand that it is entirely different at the same time. Thus, I can see why it would be that category, even if I don't think it belongs. But that's also why I don't like the whole jury thing that they have going on. I don't think that a bunch of games journalists and random journalists and NP fucking R are the people who should be telling other people what's innovative in gaming. But again, that's just me. Anyway, that looks like how the Game Awards is shaping up, guys. The actual Game Awards will be Thursday, December 12th at 7 p.m. Eastern, so that'll be 5 p.m. here. If I get enough interest, I might stream. That Thursday is my normal day to do a stream anyway, so if people are interested, I might go ahead and stream it. Just let me know down in the comments if that's something that you would like to watch with me. But otherwise, I would much rather come on and play Baldur's Gate 3, since I'm sure we'll still be playing the game at that point of time. But what do you guys think? Are there any categories that you feel strongly about? Do you have winners Do you think the whole thing is just an overblown, expensive advertisement for games that really already did well? Or, I mean, personally, I think it's a giant media circle jerk, but I feel that way about all awards shows. Before we go, it is that time of week where I need to thank everybody so much for being here, whether you're just here listening or if you are a member on the channel. I have to thank you so very, very much for being here. To my members specifically, I want to extend it a special thanks because, you really help support me, and considering what just happened with my camera, your support will be even that much more valuable, as it will definitely help me pay for that replacement. Members on the channel are DX Machina NZ, Emperor Doomsday, Snake Oil Sean, Schmitted, Amogo, Green-Haired Anti-Liberal, Narrator 45, Felix, Stormborn, Aramis, Corrine Ponder, and Ben Henniger. Thank you guys so much for your support. It means ever so much to me. I also have to give a special shout out to Silver over on Ko-Fi, who is a monthly supporter, and especially to, and I know I should know your actual name that would appear in my chat, but I'm not gonna lie, my memory is absolutely awful. I should remember the name that appears in my chat, but connecting things isn't always the best thing in my little brain. So the last Warden 04, for your extremely generous donation for the puppies and everything, that will go so far to feeding them and giving them everything they need. I can't express how grateful I am to you and everybody else here on the channel. The amount of support I get is more than I could have ever asked for. And thank you guys so much. And thank you especially everybody who's here, who spends your time here. I say it every time, the most valuable of your commodities, your time. It means a lot to me. That said, let me know what your thoughts are about these award shows down in the comments, and I look forward to reading what you have to say. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the notifications. If you really liked it, you can feel free to share it around, and I will catch you later.